Good morning, craps players. Today's gonna be a little different. I got a $1,000 buy-in. I'm on my own today. Gray Beard's off working. I'm gonna do quarters across, and I'm just gonna press up, full press my first hit, and then press up roughly half my winnings. And my goal today is just to get to max bet. I've gotten there a couple times in the last couple days with this throw, so I'm just going to lay that down today and see what I can do. And just gonna talk craps today, and you know, the keys to having winning days and more of them. You know, obviously you got to have your bankroll. You can't just be digging into your paycheck every week. So if you've got to save up 25 bucks a week until you get to where you need to be, then that's what you need to do. You can't go in with your paycheck and think you're going to double up and go home a big winner, because it's not a fun way to play. I think dice setting, today I'm throwing my hard set. I go clear to the bottom with it, and when I throw, I set it in the same spot. I go up and I'm going to give it a twist, just a real light twist, and try to roll it down the table. And this is my mark right here, and I want to go this direction to the wall. I know if I go this way, it's ugly. If I go this way, it's ugly. And if I hit there and I come way back, it's rarely very good either. So the soft touch, soft throw is what I'm looking for here. And the reason to go, I think dice setting is so important. Now I know you're not gonna hit that exact number every single time, but by throwing this, there's gonna be 2 or 3 numbers that are gonna come up way more often than others, and that's where you're gonna get that advantage. See, we got 2 yo's in a row there. So your probability to hit in a 7 is still just the same as anybody else. But if you can do it, it'll come more in the come outs or in between your points. And just one time of that, you know, you just increased your rate of return significantly by being able to hit your point first before that 7 comes. And I think that's where the biggest advantage comes from when you're setting dice. And you can see that at the table too. You know, when you've got 4 guys at the table playing, and even they are betting heavy on you versus themselves. And at the end of the day, everyone's patting you on the shoulder saying, "Thanks, man, that was an awesome roll." And that happens more often than not. And that kind of points towards you know, doing the right thing and getting your throws down. But, you know, there's more to it than just that. Being comfortable at the table is super important. You know, we've been throwing for over a year, every day, literally for 3 hours a day would be probably the bare minimum that we're going to practice. And it's not just about dice setting, it's about your place bets. And the advantage to us playing on the table here is seeing these chips out there. You know, I just went out with, $170, and at the beginning of me going, I'd go across with $25 and I'd be just sweating bullets. You know, and now seeing the chips out there, being comfortable with, I'm going to get generally 2 or 3 hits anyway, so I can pull down and start back lower. You do need to start with a higher bet when you do that, but it can be done. And it's getting rid of the nerves. You know, I used to shake pretty good, and I wouldn't think I was nervous, but clearly when I get a hold of the dice, my hands are shaking, and I want those numbers to come, and I'm thinking I need this hit, and it's just it just throws you off your game. You get off that rhythm. And a lot of people talk about, drinking a couple beers and this, that, and the other, and I understand the concept to that. However, we have fun playing dice. We don't need to drink too, and it's not part of our deal. We play enough that we've become comfortable, and some key things that you can do to become comfortable at the table, like I said before, is having that bankroll that you're not afraid to lose. Sticking with a routine. I go every Wednesday morning at 5 in the morning every week. That's my day. I go, and I go at the same time. Point number 1. I go at the same time, same place, and I've got the same dealers. I've got the same guys throwing with me every day, for the most part. I mean, there's a few, but I know everybody at the table, and I can have conversations with them. Just the other day, the table went kind of south. And I'm talking with them, and I'm like, how do you feel about just playing the dark side for a couple of rounds? And we're like, yeah, let's do that. And it just changed the whole mojo of the table, and everyone started having fun again, and things started turning around. And that was, we lit that 5. That just made it fun, being able to talk with the other players at the table and become friends with them, know how they bet, know how they throw, and being able to incorporate that into your betting strategy, so it's not just random and everyone's on the same page. And your dealers, your dealers, they know your bets. There's no confusion there. And that's just such a big part of being comfortable at the table. Being courteous at the table. Getting your bets in quick. You need to know or have your game plan before you even go to the table. You don't want to get up there, and a lot of people I know, that even if they are dice setters, they just like to grab the dice and wing them down on the first throw, right? Well, now they're trying to figure out what, there's that 5 again. They don't know what they're going to play. They're going to play the 6, they're going to play the 8, they're going to play them both. You know, there's no plan yet. and you need to have that. You need to know I'm going to go 3 hits and down to single units, or I'm just going to go across, I'm going to press my way up one unit at a time, and got that 10. I'm going to just press up 1 unit at a time. And that way you're not slowing the game down, you're not inside your head when you're throwing, because you already know what you're going to do, and the dealers know what you're going to do. So everything is just pretty much on autopilot, and all you have to do is focus on throwing your numbers, and it just makes for a nice smoother game, a relaxed game, and it just plays out so much better. Some good common courtesy at the table. When you're not throwing, you know, step back from the table. Take a couple steps back. You can still see what's going on, but give that guy all the room he needs to throw. Give him all the room. Whether he's being courteous or not, he might catch on. And if he does, that's going to just benefit you later on, especially if you're playing at the same time, same place every day. You know, I show up to the table and there might be one guy there, but he's in my spot. And you know, hey, how you doing? And this, that, and the other. And he goes, you know, I'm not throwing very good. Let me step back and I'll give you your spot, because they know that's my spot. And that is just a huge advantage from not having to move around the table and find a new target area. So that's a big key to that as well. Knowing what you want to leave with, very important. If I have a $300 buy-in, you know, yeah, I'd love to make $300 and double that and just feel really good about it. But if I can make $75 off of $300, that is a win. And it's okay if you do that in your first throw. You know, lock that up. If you want to play with $25, you know, and just do a pass line and a single number and just practice. But you need to lock up that win, because without it, you know, it's going to look like this. We just haven't got a rhythm yet today, and that's going to happen. And that's why you don't start out big. I'm just testing myself here, this is not how I would play at a casino. This is just what I'm doing here today. But you really got to be relaxed. If you're tense, you're going to have bad throws. Obviously, I'm not hitting a lot of. I'm hitting a lot of 7s, but the 5s and 8s, you know, those are my numbers with this set. So ideally, I'd be betting, instead of $200 across, I'd be betting a $100 5 and a $100 8. You know, the two numbers I know that are more likely to hit than the others. I just, for the sake of convenience, I'm just not doing that. But I don't get too worked up on the promos, although I've just been collecting them lately. That one was quick. Hard to do a video and focus at the same time. I'm trying to think of the right things to talk about instead of focusing on my throw, but that's what we're here for. You can't be afraid to leave when the table's not going. You got to have your stop loss too. $300 buy-in. You don't want to be down to $10 and decide, to leave. it's just, you need to stop at 100 or whatever you set yourself up for. Because the key is to be successful at this. We know it's a negative outcome game. So you have to keep that in mind when you are playing, that it is a negative outcome game. And if you think you're going to go in there and win every time, you're just fooling yourself. You go in and we're at a small casino here. So we know everybody, but if you're in a bigger city, you have that opportunity to walk around and see what a hot table is and a hot shooter, and really scope it out for a while. That's really ugly today. You can pick out your shooter if you're not a shooter. You lay a big bet one time, it hits, and you get out. I mean, the key is to win, right? So it's okay to just hit and quit. There's just nothing wrong with that. They make the game so fun, you want to just stay and play, but you need to do your hit and quit with $500 on a number or something, and then get out of there, or then go down to just single units and same bet. But it's just really important to get familiar with the game, familiar with the bets, your dealers, the guys you're throwing around, and that's going to change your entire outcome of the game. You need to keep track of where you're at for the year. Not only do you need a daily limit or a weekly limit or however often you go, you need a yearly limit. It's just not always about those comps, I mean, if you can, that's great. Try to get a little focused here. This is my last throw on these monies. Get that 8 lit up a few times there. There's 105. Hopefully we can get set up, we can do a live video and get a little dialogue back and forth and get other people's inputs on some key things that make them successful at the table, or that confidence. Walking in with that confidence is a real big advantage. Point. I did my yearly report the other day for 2018. I was surprised at how well I did based on their numbers. Of course, I was down because it was my first year. I do not expect to be down this year. Just because of the safe modes that we've put in place this year. As far as our stop losses are concerned. My total loss last year was $1,600 for the year, and my total in was around $44,000. So most of that was all give and take. Now I'm just going down to 50 odds once my points established. So I'll just start over is all. But I thought that was pretty good for just my first year of playing, which I shouldn't even have been playing yet, you know. You just get eager and excited and confident and think you're gonna get it. But if you haven't learned that discipline yet, it's going to show at the table in your pocket. You got to stay away from the slots, as far as I'm concerned. 4 again. How about that? Slots are bad. But, you know, they're only going to pay out whatever, the 88% or whatever. So you know that expectation already. And there's nothing you're gonna do to change that. You're gonna get lucky or you're gonna go broke. Simple as that. We like that 8. I'm just rolling them things down the table. You can get into a rhythm. You know you're in the rhythm, and you can bet accordingly when you do that. 8 again. That's 3. Finally got my sharp this morning. I played for 3 hours the other day and hit 5 sharps, 6 sharps, 6 sharps. 2 4-pointers and a 5-pointer, and the rest were all 3s. Couple back to back. 12. I was playing pretty conservative that day too. I wasn't quite feeling it. And I just went 1 unit across, and I played a horn high yo. So my bets were covered. And well, I hit I think I did 5 or 6 horns in a row, thinking 25, 27 bucks a hit. $10 is going to be my new point. 10. It's going to be a good throw for me, I think. 4 points. That pays 45 for 5. Down to my last throw, and it's looking pretty good. Sorry, I'm trying to stay focused here. Try to get to where I want to be. When I'm focused, I get really quiet at the casino. Nothing affects me. I'm just so zoned in. 6. There's 5 points. I'm gonna make some money on this sharp. You know, I don't know how it is for you dice setters, but this is very important to me. I threw a 6, so now I'm looking at these numbers here. I'm looking at these numbers and these numbers. And when I see this, I feel very comfortable about my throw. Very comfortable. Now, if I see... Of course I did that wrong. If I see this, I'm going to think about pulling my bets down or changing up something, because more often than not, I can hop these combinations showing and hit them with a hop bet at least 50% of the time. That's a frontline winner. Frontline winner. Frontline winner. So this would be a good time for me to start over, but I'm not going to, because this is the strategy I chose. I'm going to try to fight through these 7s. Nina. So I've got a 5-4 and a 3-1 face-in. That 3-4 combination that's up there. I would definitely be pulling down to probably 2 units across and trying to start over. I would not roll this next roll with big money out there. And you got to feel that game too. You know, if that something doesn't feel right, it's okay. Get your dealer's attention. Just, you know, tell them you're off. Wave your hand. You don't want to be yelling, I'm off, in the middle of the guy's throw. Like, get his attention, give him the sign. Eight. Please, 105. I stack it this way for my mathing purposes. Three. Hard eights. So what do I got there? 140. 140 for my 100. And I got that. Another one. That gets me to okay, that gets me up to 240. Be hopping those aces in 4-1 right about now. I don't need to hop the 8 because that's going to pay well. 9 point. That's nice. $6. The record at the casino where I go is 14. It only pays to 10, which is almost $1,500. $2.99 to 1. 6. I've hit 9 points twice now. Just couldn't get that 10th, and I'm going to beat that 14. 2 for 100. I'm going to beat that 14 points here. You know, the other key to, if you're a dice setter, playing on that exact same table is going to be huge. You know, a lot of times, Graybeard and I, we can throw 30, 40 rolls on this table, but we know the table and we play it 3 hours a day. So going to the casino, now you're in a new table. so the key is going to be is making those adjustments while you're there, changing your landing zone, changing your dice set. You have to be able to keep that turning. That's why I love starting with a hard set to know where I'm at. You know, you should be throwing slow enough, your dice stay apart on the same side. This die is always over here, this one's always over here. It should always be the same. And you can see what numbers are showing up, and you can make a simple correction and it'll change the whole game. If you need to go a little higher, you need to go a little lower. You know, if you got a shot, put it in, or you need to roll it. Those are things that you need to make those, be able to make those adjustments on the fly. Set it out. I don't know if that's a come out or not. I lost track of where I was. Well, anyway, I did a great roll there, and appreciate your time. Play safe. Stay a winner.